Ras Kwame with a reggae recipe in the place up right now, and it's all about my special guest about to join in conversation. The big man is in the building. Heavyweight champion of the thing. It's all about Big Gangzilla, aka Damian Jr. Gang Marley. Family, what's going on, fam?
Yes, Ras, we're there, you know.
Yeah, everything
thanks.
good?
Everything up.
Irie. After that, I saw you at Somerset House last week. Amazing show.
Thank you.
Looks like the London and the UK fans, they really came out to feel the vibes. How did it go down for you?
Yeah, man, great. As I've been saying, London always show a whole heap of love from the time of my father and that generation of reggae music coming up to now, and to me in particular. And, again, so the concert the other night was really evidence of that once more,
True.
Yeah.
And the UK fans hadn't seen you in a little while as well, innit?
Yeah,
so it was kind of fresh. But you also did some touring in Africa recently.
Yeah.
How was that experience, going back to the motherland and catching the vibes?
Yeah, that was great, man, because as you know, we do a whole heap of music that is focused toward Africa, you know what I mean? And it's really been a long time that we wanted to go and visit. And what I'm really proud about on this particular trip that we've been there is that we were able to do a bunch of shows.
Right.
Most of the time, well, in my experience, every time I've been before, it's really just like one gig and then you leave.
Okay.
And that happens a lot of the time with most artists, So it was cool that we were able to put about 6 shows together and do a small little tour,
Mad. Yeah. Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa.
Yeah, and then Mauritius and Reunion Islands.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Did you find anything about Africa or Africans that you didn't already know before from your time spent there performing this time?
Well, what I can say, I mean, the place has developed a lot since last I was there. Development, a lot of buildings going up. Roads that were basically just being worked on are dirt roads when I was there last, even in Ethiopia, are now paved and all of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Of course, even from the last time I was there, social media is a big thing now.
True.
So I think everyone is very much informed and up to date, with what's going on, everyone's up to date with the news and all that stuff of what's, culturally going on in all places of the world. And the food was great. The food was great. Yeah.
Ever great. Life on the road. And you've kind of kept it on the road with the same band over the years, flagging and everything. Do you kind of prefer more big stadium performances or more the smaller, intimate ones? What's your choice as a performer?
Variety is the spice of life. So
true.
If I do too much of one, I start missing the other.
Okay.
In that kind of way. When you have a big, of course, lots of people is great energy. You get to introduce yourself to new audiences that way, like, for example, on festivals and such forth.
True.
And then now the smaller shows are more intimate. You know what I mean? And you kind of get to connect with the individuals in the audience a bit more than you would if it's a, huge
out
audience.
There in the field.
Yeah.
You kind of lose the vibe of it sometimes when it's like that. Too big.
Yeah, you can.
True.
You know what I mean? But so far, we've translated well in both arenas.
Yeah, so, true. So the songs are absolutely massive. Must go down wherever it is. I remember seeing you myself in a small intimate spot at South by Southwest a few years ago.
Yeah.
With Nas.
Yeah.
And that was a crazy show. High energy. And I'm like, being so close to the artist, then performing the vibes was totally electric.
Give thanks.
And speaking of Nas, over the last 11 years, Distant Relatives has been one of the projects you've done. You've also done some work with Mick Jagger, Skrillex and the like. But this new album, Stony Hill, is hugely anticipated.
Yeah, thank you.
How come it's been so long in the making? Has that been purposeful or has that just arrived by design?
No, it's definitely not purposeful. The same projects that you just mentioned were some of the projects I was doing in between. And of course, each of those took time to complete. I also did 3 compilations with my crew and label, Ghetto Youths. So we did Set Up Shop Volume 1, 2, and 3 as albums. I produced the album for Wayne Marshall. I did that, so I've been busy doing work.
Yeah, you have been actually.
Just not solo albums, so to speak. And, I guess, no, not before the time,
Nothing before the time. Yeah. So the title, Stony Hill.
Yeah.
That's a place where you're forward from, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
tell us a bit about that.
Well, it's a neighborhood in Jamaica, in where you call the uptown part of town, which would be the more privileged part of town. You know what I mean? So I grew up there from I was around 5 till I was around 16 or so. So I think in using that title, it's really, what I'm trying to express is basically every ghetto man dream is to be living in a place like that, or that their kids could grow up in that kind of area. So I'm saying even upon my family behalf, it's a triumph that my roots of my family would come from where they come from, and I would have the opportunity and privilege to be raised Stony Hill, you know.
True.
Yeah.
So is that the central message of the album? Is that the songs constructed basically to reflect that vibe?
Somewhat, you know, in some cases, each song kind of has its own little story still, but yeah, that could be a central theme in some way, yeah.
Okay, so from the songs we've heard so far from the project, it seems like you're going in a less of a R&B and hip-hop kind of hybrid kind of direction, and this is more about stone cold roots reggae. Am I right?
Yeah, well, there is, I must say, I've done some more roots reggae on this album than I would usually do.
Right.
Like, you know, in that kind of way. I even tried some more singing too. You know what I mean? So that is new for me. It might not be new for like reggae listeners in general, but for me as an individual, as an artist, is, you know, that's kind of something new I've never really done in terms of so much acoustic reggae. You
right.
know? Yeah. But the album still, I mean, it's 18 tracks on the album, so we still have loads of program stuff and things that would be typical of what you know of my music.
Wow.
You know?
The first two singles, Caution and I think Raw for a Cause, they were Black Uhuru samples. Is there a lot more sampling going on this album, or who are some of the roots inspirations?
Right. Well, Caution and Nail Punk Cross was a Black Uhuru.
Nail Punk Cross.
Yes,
Nail
yes.
Punk Cross.
Yeah. Let me think about it. I didn't. You know what? We didn't do loads of sampling. On Roar, we sample a Buju song.
Okay.
On Roar. I think we didn't do less sampling on this one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more musicianship.
More musicianship, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That musicianship really comes through on a song like Everybody Wants to Be Somebody.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Father must have been proud that one guy is rock stone to the core, and it sounds very, very heavy. What's the inspiration for a song like that? How long does it take you to put a song like that together?
The inspiration for that song was really, I want to tell you, originally what I see happening in the industry, the music industry, where a lot of people it's like a shock campaign, which doesn't really have anything to do with their music, more so than the image that they're selling, and you know, and a lot of opinions going back and forth about it, you know what I mean? And I kind of boil it down to, well, everybody want to be somebody, you know what I mean?
Which is true.
Right. So that's, you know, the song itself, it took how long it take for put together. I mean, it started off as a jam. We were just jamming some music, and then, you know, took a little time and got the words together. Overall, we did majority of the work on the album we've done over the last 2.5 years or so.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow. Is that the average time it takes to put together an album for yourself?
Yeah. So, I mean,
you take your time and build it, right?
Well, yeah, and then of course, you know, you do touring in between, and you know, so if you really added up the months spent in the studio, it wouldn't be a year worth of months in the studio, but because you spend a month here and there, and then you go off and do some touring and spend some time with your family, and then you come back, and you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Yeah.
So we're seeing you kind of like grow to become a leading businessman in the culture, as much as you are representing on the studio and the label and the musical side.
Yeah.
You got a huge venture in the Welcome to Jamrock cruise, of which we've heard a lot about. Can you tell us what inspired that and what it's all about?
Well, it's very important to me to help to push the genre forward, especially from a business aspect, because I think that's really what we are missing, so to speak, as reggae music. You know, we have a whole heap of talent, but we don't have the puffies and the Suge Knights and the you know what I mean, the entrepreneurs then, in that kind of sense, you know what I mean? So, and then of course, I mean, you know, there's been various other cruises in different genres of music. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not really like a big epiphany to come up with this idea. You know what I mean? It's really, what it was really pull it off, because you didn't have a lot of people who believe that reggae music could do the business. Right. You know? And lo and behold, that, you know, it sold out in a few months after we started to advertise, you know what I'm saying? It continues to. Right, you know. So that's why I say even those kind of ventures are important, because that in itself makes a statement for reggae music that, yeah, we can sell tickets, we can sell out a cruise, you know what I mean? Yeah. Beautiful. A good friend of mine, Shani B, described it as like a reggae fan's paradise. Yeah, man. To be on that ship. Yeah, man. True stories? Yeah, we have to make you forward for sure, brother. Yeah, man. Go forward for sure. Yes, man. Read that one, most definitely. And also, your other project that has been well documented now, obviously medical marijuana in the US of A. You talk about opening dispensaries for medical marijuana usage in Denver, Colorado, and places like that. Yeah, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that project? Well, again, it goes without saying that marijuana has been something very dear to our hearts for years, you know. And the business is starting to be legitimized. You know, the business is becoming legal in various places, and I feel it's right that it has been a part of our culture for so long, and we have sacrificed so much for it. We should be a part of that business too, you know. So far, what I've been able to, you know, be involved in is, like you said, we have a dispensary in Colorado, and we're, you know, looking to open a few more there now. Also, we have a strain of herb we call it Speak Life OG.
Speak Life OG.
Yeah.
Boom.
See, and we just recently, there's a facility in California that was once a prison that we have purchased of recently to grow some marijuana in, you know what I mean, which that is making a lot of headlines back in America and whatnot too, you know what I mean. So again, we are trying to be progressive in the whole movement of the marijuana business.
That's a very, very progressive use of a prison, I have to say. Great one.
Yeah.
Does it take a long time to convert a prison into such a facility now?
I want to tell you that they're actually still doing that, so we haven't really been able to reap any herb from the place as yet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because they're still having to kind of rewire some of the electricity and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a good seed soon, ready to plant.
Yes, sir.
In conversation with the great Damian Jr. Marley. Speaking of, that facility is called Stony Hill as well, right?
No. But our strain would be Stony Hill's Speak Life OG. You know what I mean? So, but that facility, we've teamed up with a group of people named Ocean Grown Extracts. So it's you know, a collaboration between ourselves and them. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a massive song on the album called Medication as well, most recently dropped, that you did with your brother Stephen. Yeah. Huge record as well. Does that tie in with the whole concept of what you're doing as well?
Oh, for sure. And I'm glad you bring that up, because even on that point, really, you know, we really try to express with that song is the medical benefits of marijuana. And that is something where you don't have to smoke it. There's different ways where you ingest it into your system. But the research, because it's becoming legal now, people are able to research. And the research is showing so much great promise, and not just in what would be the typical things that you'd associate with marijuana in terms of medicine over the years. For example, and everybody would always say over the years, cancer. Yeah. Right? Goes without saying. But when you check it, Parkinson's disease, Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, you know, the list goes on. You know
so many uses.
Yeah, where it's really show good benefits without the negative side effects.
It is a bit weird that such a thing was legal before, say before the 1930s. Yeah. Then it became illegal, and the usage of the thing has always been known. Yeah. It's kind of perplexing, right? Yeah. How do you think that is?
Politics and money and control. Mass people control and them kind of thing. You know?
Right. So it's a business for the man them who embraced it right now. Yeah. Natural. Right. So Ghetto Use Production. How much are you actually involved in that on a day-to-day? I was conversating with Kabaka on the show the other day, and you're executive producing his album. Mm-hmm. Is that like part of the wider vision in terms of like bringing out forth more music?
Yes, absolutely. You know what I mean? I'm very involved in the project. I mean, of course, as of recently, because I'm finishing up my album and stuff, I've been spending as much time as, you know, previously. But like I was just explaining to you, I mean, all of the Setup Shop albums, I did a lot of production on those. You know, I did a lot of production for Wayne Marshall's album, you know what I mean? What I try to know is try to branch out a bit more, where I can endorse some products that are almost, you could say almost finished, and I can just contribute a track or two, or even don't have anything to necessarily do with the music production myself, you know what I mean? So hence we're talking about Kabaka's album, I'm executive producing it. I produce a few tracks, but then he's brought a lot of the music to the table himself too, you know what I mean? So we try to grow also as not just producers, but as a label who distributes music. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, which was always part of the Tough Gone vision, right?
Yeah.
Mad. All right, Junior Gun, thank you very much for passing by the show. One question that I have to ask before you're out, though. Obviously, Hove's dropped, we're talking Jay-Z's dropped the new one, 444. Yeah, and you have the record on there, bam.
Yes.
That's a big tune. How did that song come together? Was that both of you just in the studio jamming?
You know, he knew I was going out to LA to do some work. I believe I was doing a video. I was going to do the medication video, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and he knew I was going to be in town, so he said he had something that he wanted me to come and check out that he's working on in the studio. So he kind of had the concept for the hook and stuff, and when I reached already. So the hook part of it was his idea, and I vibed that for him, and did the vocals for him.
Beautiful.
And then he said, "Hey, just vibe on the beat," and I just kind of did a lot of freestyling stuff on the beat, and then they constructed that to be my last the verse that I knew on it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It was crazy when he turned up in Jamaica.
Yeah, it was nice.
Everyone came out. He was doing some video business with you as well, right?
Catching some visuals for his project, you know what I mean? So it was an honor to be able to show him around Kingston and carry him through the family history and stuff like that,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Damian, we anticipate 21st of July. Looking forward to the brand new album. It's called Stony Hill.
Respect, Ras Kwame.
Thank you very much for passing the show.
Every time. Enough love.
Enough respect.
Manners.